everybody. Sorry it's been a while. I looked at my last update and realized it was 5 months ago that I updated you guys for anything in the world of No Place Like Tomorrow, and that's not really fair of me to keep you waiting for 5 months. There are a few updates. So, first of all, Book 3 has not yet reached 70,000 words. Sorry, life got chaotic. It happened. You probably see the state of my office that things are rather bare. I am actually getting ready to move. So things are a little bit, up in the air right now. A lot of my stuff is actually in storage, or in boxes in my garage. So that's where that is. Heard from publisher that was looking at No Place Like Tomorrow, and unfortunately that was a no. It's fine. We will keep rocking and rolling and doing things the way we've been doing them, which is doing them ourselves. So we will continue on that route. Book 2, No Hope for Yesterday, just underwent an editing stint by me, wherein I removed 2 characters. I removed Taj and Jairus. Now, those of you who were maybe looking forward to Taj and Jairus, who had followed the updates and had heard me talk about them, I still love them as characters. They're still great characters, and they're people that I'm holding on the sideline, but as I've been working in Book 3, I was realizing that I needed to do too much building with Taj and Jairus for them to be as fleshed out as I wanted them to be in Book 3. And I just didn't have the space within the plot to do that. So, unfortunately, Taj and Jairus did get cut. Now, I cut them, but I put a different character in their place. And the character I put in their place is a red dragon named Alton. And Alton, I think you guys will like equally as much. He is a dragon who has hung out in my head and been around since kind of the conception of this story. And he is one of Valen's childhood friends, actually. He's got kind of a fun story. He has a situation similar to Cyprin, how there's Cyprin and Cheyenne, and then Jevin is the odd color out. For Alton, there were 2 red parents and then a black dragon. And so the black dragon that was in that bond was of influence in the kind of black dragon clan, and so Alton grew up around the black dragons and with the black dragons and grew up around Valens. So Alton and Valens know each other from childhood. They haven't been around each other a lot in adulthood, but they know each other from childhood. And so I still wanted to have that piece of somebody who is closer to Valens in a way, but also distant from Valens, in the same way that his mates were, where there was an intimacy but a distance because they were mates but hadn't been around each other their whole lives. And so you've now got Alton, who was childhood best friend but hasn't been around Valens in a while. So you get this same sense, I think, where Alton is able to step in and do some of the things that the mates were doing without being that person. And actually, Alton has been around Eaton now. And so he gets this different perspective where he knew Valens when they were young, knows Eaton as an adult, and so now can kind of sit in the middle and be like, oh, okay, so here's where the conflict mediation needs to happen. So I'm really enjoying actually enjoyed weaving Alton back into Book 2, replacing Taj and Jairus. Alton didn't need as much building, doesn't need as much time in the spotlight as the 2 mates did, so he is serving as something of a tertiary character, doing some mediation, doing some things that I needed done, but didn't have the bandwidth to do with Taj and Jairus. So that has happened. Book 2 should still be on track for a winter 2025 release date. It's gone back to beta readers because it is re-edited, so it should be fine. I will do one more round of editing myself, beta readers one more round of reads, and then it should be on track still for winter 2025 release, if not early winter 2026 release. Book 3, on the other hand, is likely not getting a spring 2026 release. I have liked the symmetry of releasing the books in the season where the book begins, but realistically, Book 3 just isn't there. Book 3 is sitting at 68,000 words. That's only like 3,000 words since the last update. So it's just not moving, and it's not moving because I needed to go back and edit Book 2. And since I edited Book 2, now I'm going to have to do more edits in Book 3, and probably that word count will go down because I had some building with Taj and Jairus that will now get pulled because they are not a part of the story any longer. So, realistically, don't get your hopes up for spring 2026 for Book 3, but Book 2 should still be winter 2025 or early 2026. So you'll still see Book 2 soon. Book 1 had a book signing a couple weekends ago. So that was a lot of fun. I saw some of you out there, but I didn't see all of you out there. I know there were 45 views on the last video, so I didn't see all of you out there. And actually, Book 1 has a smaller private event coming up for it as well, which should be a lot of fun. And that event came out of the book signing, so that is a lot of fun as well. There will be another event for Book 1, and then I will probably do something else once Book 2 launches and have a Book 1 and 2 combined type of event. So that will be happening, just hasn't happened yet. Insofar as spin-offs, I've actually been procrastinating in Book 3 and in the editing of Book 2 and working in the spin-off books. The spin-off book for the Reaper has not gotten very far. I've written like 5 or 6 chapters. And that one is tentatively called A Realm Between Destinies. The other spin-off, 2 other spin-offs, there's Son of the Storm, which is about Eaton's son. And that one's got a couple of chapters in it. I've been kind of fiddling with that one. I'm not entirely sure where the plot is going in that one. So I'm just kind of laying some groundwork, world building stuff in that one. And then a third spinoff called In the Shadows. That one has an entirely new cast. So that book is entirely new characters for me. And something of a new world. It's still in the Company of Dragons universe, but it's set to take place, several centuries later. So everything that Eaton builds, everything that even Eaton's son builds, it's all kind of evolved on its own without the guidance of either of them after a point. And so while some of my main cast, Cyprin, Valens, Eaton, all get mentions, they're not, at the moment, a strong part of In the Shadows. And so that one I'm doing, again, some ground building, world building sort of work in. So I've got 3 spin-offs in the works that all have varying degrees of work done to them and are in various stages. The Reaper's story, The Realm Between Destinies, that one I do know where it's going. It's just how to get there. I mean, I know where it ends because it ends with the Reaper. It actually has 2 parts, and so, like, part 1 ends when Q becomes, when Q gets summoned. So the first part is Q as who Q was before, and then the second part is when Q awakens as a Reaper, and kind of that journey before No Place Like Tomorrow happens. So I've got kind of 2 parts. So I know those 2 parts, it's just creating them. And then the other 2 books, like I said, they've got new cast and not fully new world building for Son of the Storm. Son of the Storm is still in pretty close proximity to the end of No Cure for Today. But In the Shadows is set a couple centuries later, so there's a lot more world building going into that one than the other. I'm also currently working on a nonfiction piece that has been kind of an idea in my head for a hot minute. And that one is called Regarding Captain. And that's the story of the horse that I have, Captain. Yeah, that's why it's called that. He has a Facebook page that I had been keeping updated for a while, and then I kind of stopped updating it, but that page was called Regarding Captain, and I had created that page with the express purpose of keeping the rescue I got him from updated, and it kind of became my way of tracking Captain and Captain's progress, and then who Captain became, has become. He's not gone, he's still here, but who Captain has become and who I have become in the process of, growing with this horse that I've had for 7 years now. So I'm working kind of in a nonfiction realm as well, which is new for me. I've not done a long form nonfiction before. I've written snippets, little pieces of like creative nonfiction, but I've never done a long form creative nonfiction before. So it should be fun for me. So I'm kind of working in a few different projects right now. I'm in the process of moving right now, in the process of finalizing book 2 right now, and just kind of overall entering new phases of my life. I'm, out of my 20s and figuring out everything that goes with that. So that was my update. I don't have any readings for you. I don't have any new big things for you. Just felt wrong realizing that it has been 5 months since I have posted an update. So I wanted to post an update and just keep you guys informed of what is going on in the Company of Dragons universe. That no, it has not been abandoned. It is still in the works. Everything is still moving. You will still get a completed trilogy. It just may take a little longer than I had originally intended. And I am still going to look for a way to publish the original trilogy with an actual publisher. To that note, if you've stayed to the end, you deserve to know this. The publisher for book 1, that rejected book 1, after that came into me, I started talking to a published author I had met who is a very kind human being and who took the time to read book 1 as it stands self-published. And at this writer's advice, I am revamping book 1. And I am taking my time with this one. Now, not to say I didn't take my time with the original, because I certainly did. It took me like 10 years to write the original. But this new one is the one that I think I will ultimately market to publishers. I have read snippets of it to people who are familiar with book 1 as it stands right now, and it has gotten overwhelmingly positive feedback as, man, why didn't you publish that version? So, there will be a second edition of this trilogy. I want to finish it and publish it in the tone and the voice that it's written in right now, because it's cohesive and it goes together, and the tone and the voice is important. But I am going to revamp it. The tone and the voice will change. I don't want to say it's going to get darker, but it is going to get more intense. And there are some things that I shy away from in the trilogy as it stands right now that I intend to dive headfirst into with the revamp. So, while book 1, the trilogy right now with the tone and voice as it stands, I do put like a PG-13 rating on just because of the themes. As I revamp, I'm allowing myself the bandwidth to lean in to some of the darker, heavier themes, into some of the depth of characters and the depth of evil in the world, And I do anticipate that my revamp will not be suitable for YA. Where the trilogy right now could be mature YA, or it's that new adult, my revamp will be purely adult. Because I'm going to give myself the bandwidth and the leniency to get into some of the nitty gritty, deep, dark, evil moments that happen that I shy away from as it stands. So look for that, because that is probably the one that will get marketed ultimately to publishers once it's done. It's already just the first chapter of the revamp is almost twice as long as the first chapter of the original. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So, if you stayed this long, thank you. This is probably one of my longest video updates to date. And I promise I'll be better about updating from now on. Sorry that it took so long. That's all for today. Have a great night, guys. I will see you next time. In a world where there is still, I promise, no place like tomorrow.